So this is a morning breakfast stream. Well, I'm eating breakfast, but it's in the morning. Um, I actually have to work today, so I'm doing a quick live stream before I go to work in the morning. I'm having breakfast and doing a quick live stream. And I had this idea that I want to share with the world, the universe, and see if the universe likes it and just takes it and runs with it. And it's basically like an astronaut reserve because I thought, like, what if there was an emergency on Earth all of a sudden and we suddenly needed all of these people to become astronauts? They wouldn't be ready. They would be not out of shape, probably. They would have not enough astronaut training. So, what if we had, just like the army has a reserve in case, there's a war, right? What if there was an astronaut reserve where we could have a bunch of people? They may never actually become astronauts, but still, it's good to have them as backup just in case we need them. It's a great way for people to stay motivated, to exercise, to stay fit. It would be an astronaut reserve, and people would basically be required to keep up a level of standard in terms of fitness and education, minimal education. You don't have to be a rocket scientist, but you have to, take some tests every month, maybe take a test every month to keep up with your astronaut education, and maybe a science test, and also physical fitness to a certain level. You don't have to be like a bodybuilder or anything, but you could maintain a good physical fitness, and you'll be part of this astronaut reserve. It'd be a big reserve of potential astronauts, and who knows, maybe then when NASA does suddenly need an astronaut, maybe they'll look to the pool of the astronaut reserve. Maybe when NASA's looking for to hire a new astronaut, maybe they will actually look at the astronaut reserve and say, "Hey, there's a bunch of people already training to become astronauts. We have a whole database of an astronaut reserve, a database of an astronaut reserve." So I think it would be great to motivate people to stay fit, to keep up education with astronaut education, science education, astronomy education, etc. It could be really fun. People could participate in the astronaut reserve program, and it could be open to anybody who just like exercises regularly and who agrees to take maybe like one or two education tests every month and passes, of course. They shouldn't be that hard. It's all about the learning. It's not about proving how smart you are. It's not about, you don't have to be a rocket scientist. It's just about the fact that you're able to read, learn, and improve. And that could be the minimum requirements to be part of this astronaut reserve program. And it'd be really cool to motivate people to stay fit. And who knows, we actually may need to use this astronaut reserve in the future. There may be a catastrophic event on Earth in which we suddenly need to move people quickly on a spaceship. And then, sure enough, if we ever need to move people suddenly, or we need someone, or let's say we just need people for a special mission, suddenly we have this whole reserve of astronauts, this astronaut reserve that we can get people from to. So I think it's a good idea, and there could be an incentive program. There could be an incentive program. It could be various companies could sponsor the astronaut program. Various companies, for example, Best Western could offer like a 2 week stay for people who excel in the astronaut program. It could be like an award, right? Like the astronaut reserve program, Best Western, the big hotel company. Maybe they could be want to get in on this and say, hey, like whoever, maybe it could be a contest. Whoever does best on your astronaut tests all year and has the best fitness, astronaut fitness, and does best on their astronaut test in the astronaut reserve, maybe they'll win a 2 week stay at Best Western somewhere. Maybe Ford Motor Company will even offer to put up a car or something for a big event or something. And this is so these people in this astronaut program, this astronaut reserve program, they won't be paid. They'll be volunteers, but there'll be incentives, right? Like prizes, like marketing companies, big companies can put up prizes and put up swag, right? Maybe like people who, and so one of the requirements to prove that you're maintaining physical fitness, you could maybe have an app where it's like an exercise app, and you do the special astronaut, these training exercises. Well, like obviously you're not going to be going in a spaceship. You're not be doing those kind of astronaut training exercises, but just stuff that you could do at home, stuff that you could do at home for like bone density and stuff. You could do this. They could have this special app run by NASA, and people, they work out in front of the app records them, and this is a part of a way to keeping the requirements. And also, it's not just the honor system, it's also they actually can measure and really track people and make sure that people are keeping part of keeping maintaining minimum physical standards for the astronaut reserve program. So there could be an app. It could literally be called the Astronaut Reserve Program app. Could be an app, the Astronaut Reserve Program app. People log in every week or so, once a week at least. They do exercises on the app. They take a test on the app, an astronaut test. Just like basic science and then it could start off as basic science, of course. Could start off as basic science and then progress to more advanced planetary science and start really cool astronaut education. Plus, it could also have training exercises. People can maintain a minimum on the Astronaut Reserve app. And if people maintain a minimum on the Astronaut Reserve app, then what would be really cool is they can actually be automatically submitted through the app into the candidate pool for NASA. So when NASA's looking to hire another astronaut, now they have a whole candidate pool of people who log on every day to the Astronaut Reserve app. And suddenly we have this whole army, like whole group of potential astronauts who are part of this astronaut reserve. So I think it's a good idea to encourage people to keep healthy, stay fit, exercise, also keep up with astronaut education, learn about the other planets, learn about space, learn about astronomy, really cool. And who knows, we actually may need it in the future. Hopefully there's not going to be like an emergency, but maybe there'll be a special space flight mission. Maybe suddenly we will want to put a colony of people on one of the moons that orbit planet Saturn, because apparently one of the moons that orbit planet Saturn could actually be more habitable than Mars. Or we could maybe put a colony of people on Mars, right? So it would be great to have a reserve of astronauts, potential people to be astronauts. So NASA could totally take this idea, run with it. NASA could develop an app called the Astronaut Reserve app. People, everyday people, it could, and this would be good because it would be accessible to everyone, anyone who is willing to work out, meet the minimum physical requirements, physical fitness. Anyone. So this is will be great because anyone who has an interest in being an astronaut, as long as you're willing to work out like normal exercises. You don't have to be a bodybuilder, you don't have to be like the most physically fit. As long as you're willing to regularly keep up with your maintained physical fitness through the app, through the Astronaut Reserve app, as long as you meet the minimum education standards, take a test every now often, every few weeks, maybe once a month, take an astronaut, a space test, an astronomy test, keep improving your education in space astronomy, astronaut physics, etc. And as long as you keep maintaining those standards, you'll be considered still part of the astronaut reserve program. You could be eligible for perks. There could be giveaways. NASA could give away t-shirts. NASA could give away a special space tour for like the top 200 people in the astronaut reserve program. They could win a special trip to visit a NASA space center. Like there's so much opportunities with encouraging people to maintain an astronaut reserve. So I think it's a good idea, and I'm just putting this idea in the universe, and let's just do it, and let's just, it's not patentable. I'm not trying to patent anything. So this is just, so someone, I tried to figure out how to email NASA. So anyone who knows how to email NASA, because I went to their website, I couldn't find a direct place to email NASA. So anyone, you're welcome to take this idea. It's not my idea. It's just an idea for the universe. It would just, it's just an idea for humanity. I'm not going to say, oh, this is my idea. It's not my idea. It's like I thought of it, but I wasn't like, anyways. So just take this idea. If you know how to message to people at NASA, because I don't feel like messaging them. I don't want to, because I have my own YouTube channel. I don't want to, anyways. And I work also. I kind of work on, anyways, I work in Canada, and I have a job where anyways, I can't. Anyway, so if anyone knows how to message the people at NASA directly, which is an American space agency, I work in Canada. I'm Canadian. If anyone can take this idea, you should take this idea and email it to the people at NASA and say, hey, I just came up with this great idea for this astronaut reserve program. This astronaut reserve program, message it. And I don't think they already have something like this. Maybe they do, but I'm pretty sure if they do, it's only for like it's for paid people. If they have something like this, it's already only for astronauts. But I'm talking about like for everyday people. I'm talking about not just like astronauts. I'm talking about everyday people who can download this app, an astronaut reserve app, and it will be like an astronaut reserve for everyday people. So everyday people can maintain the physical standards required to potentially be an astronaut. They probably already maybe have like some sort of astronaut reserve program, like a backup, right? But a very small backup. For example, like when NASA, you know how they have football players, right? They have football players and then they have backup football players or backup performers, right? So they probably already have like a small selection of backup. But I'm talking about everyday people. I'm talking about the whole country. Anyone who has desire to be an astronaut, because even just to be a backup, even to be a backup astronaut at NASA is already a coveted position, right? It's not easy even just to be a backup at NASA. But I'm talking about a reserve, an astronaut reserve for everyday people, anyone who has an interest in space, science, technology, about maybe being an astronaut, who likes to maintain physical fitness. So this is for everyone. It's accessible to everyone, not just a select few of backup potential astronauts, right? So yeah, there's definitely I've never heard of any astronaut reserve app, and I suggest people just do it. So you can, and in fact, if you want to take credit for this idea, you can go ahead, take this idea. You could submit it to an app developer. You could submit it to NASA. You can even take credit. I don't care. I just want this to be a thing for humanity. I want humanity to progress. I want humanity to progress to the next stage, bring us into the future, let us find new planets, let us find aliens. This is priceless. Finding aliens, finding new planets, putting humans, a colony of humans into space. This is priceless. This is what we need to do for humanity. So, anyone who wants to commercialize this for profit, you go ahead. I don't care. But my agenda is I want everyone to do this. Let's get this astronaut reserve program. Let's get a large group of astronauts. Sorry, I speak fluent Russian, so Russian is my native language. English is my second language. So if I misspelled astronaut, I'm sorry, but I'm sorry. But if I misspelled astronaut, I'm sorry. But anyways, are you sure though? Because when I went to go do a spell check, it said that that was the correct way to spell astronaut. So obviously in Russian it's spelled differently, but in English it said that that was the correct way to spell astronaut. So, so welcome Michael Miller to the live stream. How are you doing today? I do talk too much, but you know, sometimes you have to talk a lot when to get your idea out there to explain something, and I just wanted to make sure I explained everything thoroughly. That's all. But thank you for your feedback. So someone please, if you know how to message NASA directly, please message NASA this idea. Tell them all about this astronaut reserve program. There could even be an incentive program. It could be attached to marketing. Starbucks could give away gift cards or something as a part of an incentive program. Really cool to encourage people to maintain physical fitness and maintain minimum education standards for potentially being an astronaut. It'd be really great. And so, yeah, we could have all these sponsors. We could have all these sponsors like Starbucks or Best Western Hotels, or for example, Pepsi. Well, anyways, I don't know if Pepsi would want to do it, but And you know, it's very possible, I hate to say it, but we always have to be prepared. It's better to be preventative. What if there was a major emergency on planet Earth? What if suddenly there was a major catastrophic event and suddenly we needed to move people fast and like take all of these astronaut reserve people and suddenly put them on spaceships and get them out of off of Earth, right? What if there was a major catastrophic event? Right now, if this major catastrophic event happened tomorrow, people would not be have physical fitness for to be an astronaut. They would not have the basic education requirements. You know, it would be kind of a disaster, mind the pun. It would be a real disaster because we wouldn't be organized. And at least if we have an astronaut reserve, if God forbid something should happen in the future, at least we have a reserve of potential astronauts who maintain a minimum level of fitness, who maintain a minimum level of astronaut education, science education, space astronomy education, etc. So. NASA could also link the astronaut reserve app to their app, so to the NASA app. And so it's a great cross promotion for NASA because now, right through the astronaut reserve app, you could be linked straight to the NASA app, and suddenly NASA will get all of this extra publicity, and people can, because you know, if you really want a great education, you can also go to the NASA website, which I'm not sure if they have an app, but they definitely have a website. NASA has a website. It is phenomenal. They got free books. They got they got free education. Like they got courses. They got question it. You could ask a Q&A to the for astronauts. They got beautiful pictures of space and science and technology. It's wonderful, the NASA website. It's really well done. It's beautiful. If you haven't checked out the NASA website recently, you should go check it out. Go on Google, search NASA website. It is a phenomenal website. Great education, great resources, free books, wonderful. So it's really cool too. It's like you could be an astronaut in your pajamas with drinking a cup of cocoa. You could literally, it's like, it's amazing because 50 years ago, 70 years ago, before the internet, people would do anything to be astronauts. Like there were people that it was their dream to be an astronaut. And now, I mean, yeah, we can also be astronauts physically too, but now you could actually see beautiful pictures of space right in your living room by just visiting the NASA website. Just by going to the NASA website, you could be like sort of like a mini astronaut from your living room. You could look at beautiful pictures of space and the planet Mars. You could look at the Earth from you know from space. You could check out what's going on in the International Space Station. It's the next best thing. It's the next best thing to actually physically getting in an astronaut physically getting an astronaut. It's sorry, English is my second language. It's the next best thing to actually physically getting into a spaceship and going into space. Now, you don't need to go to space to see beautiful pictures of space, to see space, to study space. You could open the NASA website and they have everything there. They have free books, resources. You could see pictures of Pluto, see pictures of Mars, see pictures of planet Saturn. It's wonderful, the NASA website. It's really great. I strongly suggest you check it out. And then every country could start doing this too. I mean, not just the United States, not just Canada, Russia, Germany, Australia. Every country can start having an astronaut reserve program. You know, it'd be great. It'd be great to encourage people all around the world to maintain a minimum level of standards to potentially maybe be an astronaut. We could have an astronaut reserve program. People can maintain physical fitness, be encouraged to stay healthy, go to the gym, be encouraged to keep up on astronaut education and science education, astronomy education. It'd be great. It's great. Great idea to encourage people around the world to consider maybe even being astronauts for real. And who knows, not everyone in this astronaut reserve program may end up being an astronaut, but it's good that we have a backup. It's good we have people ready. And it's also good that there actually could be people from the astronaut reserve program who for real could actually turn into astronauts for real. After commitment, after several years of commitment to the astronaut reserve program, the top people in the astronaut reserve program could actually be selected by NASA to become astronauts for real. It'd be great. Hello, Mink. Welcome, Mink Jenks, to the live stream. Thank you for saying hi. Hello. Hello, welcome, Shermanator. Thank you for joining the live stream. So, I'm talking about an astronaut reserve program. These are people who are basically in a part of an astronaut reserve of potential people who could potentially be astronauts. They will maintain a minimum level of physical fitness, a minimum level of education, astronaut education. It's like an app. It could be an app. It could be an app that you download on your phone, the astronaut reserve app. Every day or weekly, You take like special training exercises, fitness training exercises on the app. The app can record you taking these fitness exercises. You could also take education on the app. You could take tests, take these competency tests for, you don't have to be a rocket scientist, but, just to show that you can read a few chapters and retain some information and keep learning. It's all about learning. You keep learning new things about space, science, technology, etc., how to be an astronaut. So basically, it's an astronaut reserve app. It could be an app where everyday people, and this could be accessible to anyone who wants to download the app, and as long as you meet the minimum physical fitness requirements every month, as long as you take the tests and get a passing score on on like the astronaut education test, the science test, the astronomy test, as long as you get a passing score, as long as you meet the minimum physical requirements and work out and stay healthy and stay fit, then you could be considered still to be part of the astronaut reserve program. On the app, there could be incentives. It will be obviously volunteer. People will be volunteering to be astronaut reserve, part of the astronaut reserve. But there could be incentives. Big companies could offer incentives, give away prizes, t-shirts. NASA could give away t-shirts to like the top 200 people in the astronaut reserve program. They could, on the app, they could show advertising, they could show commercials on the app. So the astronaut reserve app can generate revenue. They could actually give a Best Western, for example, the big hotel company Best Western. They could give away a week vacation or something to like the top person on the astronaut reserve app that maintains who does best on the test scores and has the best physical fitness and who actually could really be an astronaut for real, right? So there's a lot of potential. There's a lot of opportunity for promotions. NASA could actually also be physically linked to the astronaut reserve website and the astronaut reserve app. So now you can actually access NASA through the astronaut reserve app. And NASA is a wonderful website. NASA has great resources. It has beautiful pictures of space, science, technology. You can learn about the latest space flight missions to Mars, etc. NASA is a wonderful website. So that's a great also way to maintain education, keep up your education in astronomy, space, etc. So the taxpayers, this is not a program that would be funded by the taxpayers, just to be clear, because you said something about the taxpayers. This is not a program that will be funded by the taxpayers. This is an astronaut reserve for everybody. It would be like an app that everyone can download. So now everyone could potentially be an astronaut. You could be part of this astronaut reserve as long as you work out regularly, meet the minimum fitness requirements, take some tests every so often, take some, you don't have to be a rocket scientist, but as long as you can, retain some information, pass some tests, keep learning, keep improving, becoming smarter in space and science, technology, astronomy, then you can qualify, maintain your astronaut reserve status. And then the people who have actively maintained and are active astronaut reservists, astronaut reserve people on the app, they could be eligible for prizes. They could be eligible for giveaways, for marketing promotions. Like, for example, Best Western, the hotel company, could give away a hotel stay to like the top 5 people on the astronaut reserve app, right? People with the best test scores. So there's incentives to do well. Obviously, you have to maintain a minimum standard as well to just qualify to be eligible on the astronaut reserve app. But then also there is also an incentive for people who really, really want to be astronauts, like people who really get the best top marks on the tests, who like are have the best physical fitness, who are actively engaged in the community, right? They're like those people especially could be rewarded and there could be incentives, there could be t-shirt giveaways, NASA could give away t-shirts, etc. So there could be a whole incentive program, help funded through advertising, through marketing, through sponsorship from big companies like Starbucks, Best Western, etc. Ford Motor Company, Ford Cars, right? For example, they could sponsor this astronaut reserve app. I hope I explained that well. I've explained it already a few times, but as new people come in, I keep re-explaining it. But anyone, if you come in and I already had explained it, just I'm gonna have this live stream up later. Like it's gonna be up as soon as I finish the live stream. So anyone who missed what I was saying, you could just go back and replay the live stream, and then that way I don't have to keep repeating, explaining the idea. But hopefully I explained it pretty well in like the text as you can see on the meme, right? But yeah, I tried to also explain it verbally so that people understand what I'm getting at. And you know what's great too is there's all of these bored people, these people with no purpose in life, these people who vandalize and loot. And we can take these people and say, hey, like instead of looting, instead of vandalizing, instead of causing trouble, instead of, feeling, having this severe boredom, why don't you consider doing something productive with your spare time and sign up for this astronaut reserve program? All you have to do is download the app. All you have to do is weekly, monthly, meet the minimum physical standards, do exercises. There'll be fitness training on the app, right on the app. It'll tell you the exercises to do. You could record yourself doing the fitness training. The app could verify that you are keeping up with your minimum physical requirements to potentially be an astronaut. It could maintain educational standards, give you tests every week or every month, and then you could take, it doesn't, you don't have to be a rocket scientist, but you could take, tests that to keep up with your education, maintain astronaut education, and it's a great for everyday people. It's definitely like it's a perfect app for someone who's just starting out. Like obviously, but even I'm sure even like experienced astronauts would love it because experienced astronauts would love the idea, especially that like everyone is being encouraged to potentially also be astronauts because we might need a lot of people in the future very soon to be astronauts. So it's I mean also experienced astronauts would probably love it too, but it's also great. It's like a stepping stone for even people who just suddenly realized, wow, everyone could be an astronaut. Anyone who really wants to could really be an astronaut. As long and so it starts off small. You could start off, doing some physical exercises, do more and more. Over time, you get better. And people who are committed, that's a good way. That's a good milestone. That's a good way to reward people as well. So let's say, for example, someone who has been an active astronaut reserve for like minimum 4 or 5 years. If you maintain for 5 years that you were an astronaut reserve, if you maintain the physical fitness standards, you did the education requirements for 5 years, then you could be eligible for like the top prizes, right? So, for example, like the best Western vacation. Let's say, for hypothetical, for example, if there was a best Western vacation getaway, then all of the people who have been an active uh, astronaut reserve member for a minimum 5 years or even 2 years, 3 years, suddenly those people can qualify to be selected for giveaways, a best Western vacation, of even a Ford motor car, a Ford car, t-shirts, clothing, sweaters, swag, hats, right? Maybe after the first year, if you fully committed for a full year and you've maintained your minimum standards on the astronaut reserve app, you can qualify now to get t-shirts, get hats, get sweaters, right? Get sunglasses, get swag. It'd be really great. It'd be really great to encourage and promote and try to encourage people to consider maybe even being an astronaut for real, right? A lot of these people may never be astronauts, but at least we have a reserve of people, at least in case for whatever reason in the future, if all of a sudden we needed astronauts, all of a sudden, at least now we have an astronaut reserve. We have a reserve of potential astronauts, which is great. Exactly, JRX. Thank you for your comment. Thank you, JRX. Yeah, even athletes. It's great because athletes would love to be part of this astronaut reserve program. And athletes already work out. So athletes already would meet the minimum physical requirements. Then athletes could also then be challenged educationally and be given great tests. You could learn. You could learning is fun. See, a lot of times in college and high school, people didn't have great teachers who didn't inspire them and then make them realize how fun learning is. Learning is very fun. Science is fun. Mathematics is fun. Mathematics should not be hard. Like it is hard if you make it hard. Mathematics is hard if your teacher doesn't make it fun, doesn't make it entertaining, doesn't make it interesting. Science will be boring if your teacher doesn't make it fun, doesn't make it interesting. So now we can actually have real proper education for everyone and it will be accessible to everyone. You know, Everyone, regardless of your educational background, regardless of your income or which country you come from, you could sign up for this astronaut reserve program. It could be like an app. Like I said, it could just be an app, but also like the app could be monitored. NASA could monitor the app. And now suddenly, for real, not only do we have a whole bunch of people that could be potential astronauts, but maybe NASA would, for seriously, the next time they need to hire an astronaut, maybe NASA would consider looking at this astronaut reserve app and looking at all these people and say, hey, why don't we look at the top 5, 10 people and at the top of this astronaut reserve app, or even the top 50 people, right? It's a great idea. And then you could even submit your resume right through the astronaut reserve app and it can go straight to NASA. Go straight to NASA or even SpaceX. Maybe even SpaceX. Maybe even Elon Musk would like this idea. I don't know. I don't know what Elon Musk is up to, but yeah, athletes would be great. Athletes would be great for this. Everyone would be great for this. I mean, I think as long as you meet the minimum physical requirements, as long as you meet the educational requirements, this will be accessible to everyone. Now, the potential of possibly being an astronaut will be accessible for everyone. At least the astronaut reserve program will be accessible to everyone, which is great. It's great because no matter what your past is, no matter if English is your second language, no matter if you don't think you're the smartest person or your educational background or your level of income, no matter where your background, everyone starts fresh. Everyone has an opportunity to participate in this astronaut reserve program and prove themselves through the app, through the astronaut reserve app, and who knows, these people might actually be inspired. We all might be inspired to, after several years of being on this astronaut reserve app, a lot of people might be really inspired for real to get on a spaceship and be a real astronaut for real. But even if they don't ever become an astronaut, it's still good to have a reserve of people. It's still good to have an astronaut reserve. Even if the people don't actually become astronauts ever for real, it's still good to have an astronaut reserve. It's great. It's great, great, great way to encourage people to stay fit and healthy and maintain education, keep up with their education, learn about astronomy, learn about maybe being an astronaut for real, etc. So I tried to explain that correctly. I tried to explain that thoroughly. I meant to say thoroughly. And if anyone's better at explaining things, please take this idea and feel free to message NASA because I don't know how to message NASA. So I don't even care if you take credit for the idea. I don't care as long as we make this a thing. As long as we take all of these bored people, these people who vandalize and loot, all of these people who are destructive, and we try to inspire them and encourage them to turn their lives around. And it's not just those people too. It's not just people who loot. It's not just people who vandalize. It's everyone in the world. Everyone in the world will now realize that whatever your background is, whatever your past is, whatever your educational background is, level of income, everyone has a fresh start. Everyone has the opportunity to prove themselves to potentially become astronauts. And you don't have to start off being a rocket scientist. You don't have to start off being a bodybuilder. You could start off slowly do more and more exercises, build up your physical fitness, slowly take more and more tests, science tests, educational tests, build up your knowledge base. And the next thing you know, someone starts off with no knowledge of being an astronaut. And after 7 years in the astronaut reserve program, we have people now all of a sudden who could very well like get on a spaceship and be an astronaut the next day because they spent 7 years slowly building up their skills, maintaining physical fitness, becoming educated, and now we have people who actually started off with no background, no knowledge of being astronauts, and then we have people after 7 years, 5 years, who could be astronauts for real, who might even be selected by NASA to become real life astronauts. So it's be great. So I just finished my breakfast and I have to start getting ready for work in about an hour. So not yet, but I'm gonna wrap up the stream in about 20 minutes. So in the next 20-30 minutes, I'm gonna wrap up the stream. If anyone has any questions about this idea, please feel free to ask me. But yeah, I'm just letting people know in the next 20 minutes I'm gonna start wrapping up in about half an hour. I'm gonna wrap up the stream because I have to start getting ready for work. Oh, another thing, perfect. It could actually be something you put on your resume, right? How cool would it be for people to put on their resumes that they actively have an active status as a astronaut reserve? The app could even give out like the app could verify that people are actively maintaining their standards as an astronaut reservist, as a part of the astronaut reserve, and you could put that on your resume. It could obviously would be in the section for like co-curricular, extracurricular, stuff, and it'd be really great. It'd be really interesting too. It'd be like someone would be reading your resume and be like, "It says here you're part of this astronaut reserve program. Are you potentially could possibly be an astronaut?" And you could be like, yeah, it's an app where people can everyday people can take tests, educate themselves, take astronaut education, potential, and then also maintain minimum physical standards. And it's for everyday people. It's an app. And as long as you meet the minimum every weekly fitness standards, take fitness tests, work out, stay healthy, eat healthy, etc. And also, as long as you, maintain the educational standards and take astronaut tests every so often, science tests, astronomy tests, etc., then you could have an active status, an active membership as part of the astronaut reserve program. And it'd be a great thing to put on your resume. It shows that you are a person that could possibly be an astronaut, right? Maybe your person looking at your resume, your potential employer might look at your resume and say, "Oh wow, this person is actually training in the background, but who could potentially be an astronaut one day." That's great. That's a great ambition. That shows this person's a hard worker. That shows this person has ambitions and goals for the future. Yeah, it'd be great as well. It'd be great too. And then the app, the Astronaut Reserve app, can give handout as long as people meet the minimum standards and etc. The app can verify people's participation in the Astronaut Reserve app. And then you could put it on your resume that you have an active status. You are actively a member of the Astronaut Reserve. So. Hello, Levi. Welcome to the stream. I don't know what you're talking about. I didn't block any messages. Actually, the very first person who made a comment was this person named Michael, and he said to me, "You talk too much," which is true. And I said, you're right, and I appreciate constructive feedback. So I actually pinned his comment. I pinned his comment because I thought it was funny. Because I do talk too much, but sometimes you have to talk a lot to explain an idea thoroughly. And I needed to explain this idea thoroughly, so I did need to talk too much a bit. But I appreciated the constructive feedback and I pinned his comment. So, but I didn't delete whatever you're talking about. Whatever comment you're saying was deleted, I didn't delete it. If YouTube deleted it, that's different, but I didn't delete it. I don't delete comments. I mean, like, unless the comment is like could to take down my YouTube stream, then I'll consider maybe deleting it. But I don't delete comments. I'm very for freedom of speech. So, like, I'm very for freedom of speech, honestly. So, I mean, if the comment was deleted, it was probably YouTube deleted it. And honestly, the other thing too is, you know how much I talk too much is I talk so much that I sometimes forget to look at the comments. So I really haven't been keeping too much on the comments. So I don't know what you said that got deleted, but I didn't delete it. YouTube would have deleted it, not me. And I do like constructive criticism. I do like feedback. It helps me become better. If people can't hear me, if I'm not talking loud enough and someone says you're not talking loud enough, that's great. Now you just improved my live stream. Now I can talk louder, right? Perfect example. So I like constructive feedback. I want people to give me constructive feedback to tell me if the live stream, if they can't see something, if they don't understand something, if I'm not explaining something thoroughly enough. I want people to tell me so I can improve the live stream. So I like constructive criticism. I do. So okay, Christopher James, but I'm talking about. So let me read your comment so that people know what I'm responding to. So Christopher James, thank you for your comment. You said we have a reserve of astronauts. Do you know how expensive it is training and maintaining them? Probably over $1 million a year. I'm talking about an app, like an astronaut reserve app for everyday people. These would be volunteers, and there could be an incentive program, marketing companies, big companies like Starbucks, big companies like Best Western Hotel. They could give away promotions, and it would be an incentive program. But these would all be volunteers. This would not be a government-funded astronaut reserve program. This would be an astronaut reserve program for everybody, for anyone who downloads the app, but also on the app maintains physical minimum fitness standards, maintains education standards. You could do the training, you could do the physical fitness training right on the app. The app could record and verify that you're maintaining fitness standards to potentially be an astronaut, be part of the astronaut reserve program. The app could also give you education, astronomy tests, space flight tests, like various science tests about science and astronomy, potentially be an astronaut tests, right? And so the app can verify. And as long as you meet these minimum standards, then you can qualify to be like an active participant of the astronaut reserve program. And these are all volunteers. But these volunteers could be eligible for various prizes, giveaways. NASA could give away t-shirts, NASA could give away sweaters. Big sponsorship, big companies could sponsor the app. For example, Starbucks could give away a gift card to like the top 20 people on the astronaut reserve app. Just an example, I'm saying. Or, for example, Best Western could give away a special 2 week vacation to like maybe the top person on the app who maybe was committed. Maybe there's a person who maintained an active membership, an active reserve membership status for 5 years on the app, plus they have the best test scores or they have the best physical fitness, and that person could win a vacation, best Western vacation. So this would be a great, it could be sponsorship marketing. There could be a lot of sponsorship, and big companies could give incentives to encourage everyday people to consider potentially being astronauts and maintain physical fitness, stay healthy, and be part of this astronaut reserve program, which would be great because also it will take all of these people around the world who are bored, who maybe are like they resort to doing things, destructive things like looting or vandalizing, and we take all. And it's not just for those people; it's for everyone in general. It's not just for vandals. I really hope, but I mean, we could take people and turn their lives around. We could take people and give them a purpose in life, right? There's probably so many people in life that feel like they don't have a purpose, like what, they don't have a goal, they don't have any ambitions. And we could say, hey, you could actually be an astronaut for real. It's actually possible. Anyone has the potential, regardless of where you come from, regardless of your income, regardless of your age, anything. Well, you have to be minimum 18, of course, but regardless of your income level, anything, anyone could be an astronaut. Anyone, right? So, this would be a great way to encourage everyone around the world. And literally, the app could have, as long as you like, it could accept everyone as long as they do their physical fitness regularly, keep healthy, stay healthy, eat healthy, whatever. Well, what I mean. As long as they meet their physical standards and do their physical fitness. I mean, I'm sure the app can't measure what people eat, but I'm just saying the app can measure people when they do their fitness exercises. You could do the fitness exercising right on the app, just like Peloton, how they do it through Peloton. You could do the fitness exercises right on the astronaut reserve app to prove that you're maintaining your physical fitness level to be potentially be an astronaut, be part of the astronaut reserve program. You could meet the education standards. You could do everything on the app. And so this is for everyday people. So anyone can be part of be an astronaut reservist as long as you download the app, right? And as long as you meet the minimum requirements, anyone could be part of the reserve program through the app, and you could be then eligible for prizes, giveaways. Big companies could sponsor the app. Starbucks could give away stuff. Ford Motor Cars could give away stuff. Best Western could give away vacations. It could be randomly, people maybe are randomly selected from the astronaut reserve pool, or it could go to the top people with the best physical fitness scores, the best education test scores on the astronaut reserve app could win the top prizes like the best Western vacation, etc. There's a lot of opportunities for people. Well, people would start off, okay, so hello, so someone came in. I don't know how to say your name. I'm sorry, but someone came in and said that they may not never be serious astronauts. That's more or less what you said. I'm not exactly sure what you said, but sorry if I don't summarize what you said correctly. But my gist of I think you said, what I think you said was you said people may not actually become serious astronauts. Well, of course, not everyone in the astronaut reserve program might not ever become astronauts for real. But the point is we'll have an astronaut reserve, and it's great. We need it. We need it. Just like they have an army reserve. Not everyone in the army reserve will go to war. Not everyone in an army reserve, but you still need an army reserve. It doesn't mean everyone in the army reserve. It doesn't mean everyone in the army reserve will be a soldier or go to war, but you still should have an army reserve. And it's the same with the astronauts. We still should have an astronaut reserve. And even though not everyone in the astronaut reserve might actually be astronauts for real, it's great because it'll encourage everyone to maintain physical fitness. It'll encourage everyone to stay healthy. It'll encourage everyone to keep up with their education. And there actually could be people, like the top people in the astronaut reserve program from the app could actually be selected by NASA. And now NASA, not only does NASA have maybe another, because NASA probably does also have like a small amount of backups, right? Football players, the big leagues, the Super Bowl, they have backup football players. In musical performances, they have backup singers, etc. But I'm talking about now, aside from the backups, because even just to get a job as a backup is hard, right? But I'm talking about now, aside from the backups, because what if, because NASA probably has like astronauts and then they have some people as potential backup astronauts. But I'm talking about now, there's a whole pool of people. There's a whole database of people part of this astronaut reserve program. And now NASA can look over like 5,000 resumes of the top people who meet at least the minimum and even more standards on this astronaut reserve program. So, and of course, it's also mainly in general, it's good to have a reserve of people. It's good to have an astronaut reserve. It's good. It's good for humanity. It's good for people to be encouraged to stay fit, stay healthy, work out, maintain, keep up their astronaut education training. And who knows? And even if you don't actually be an astronaut, maybe you'll get a job at NASA. Maybe you're a good computer programmer and you keep up with your astronaut reserve program. You keep up with the app, you maintain physical standards, and now you submit your resume as a programmer, computer programmer to NASA. And maybe you don't be an astronaut, but maybe you'll actually be a computer programmer and work for NASA as a computer programmer. So there's a lot of potential opportunities. So not everyone in the astronaut reserve program needs to be an astronaut for real, but some might. It's probably some of the people will become astronauts, even more than some. And even if not, it's still good to have a reserve. Like and the army has a reserve, but that doesn't mean everyone in the reserve will go to war or be a soldier. It just means that we have an army reserve, and we can have an astronaut reserve as well. So, and it'll encourage everyone to stay fit, stay healthy, and to keep up with their education standards. And so, okay, flat earthers. So we have some flat earthers that came in. So flat earthers, if you believe that the Earth's flat, then being part of this astronaut reserve program can only help you because it'll validate whatever you think. So it counts as more evidence. And if you really want to investigate if the Earth's flat, then the best way to investigate if the Earth's flat is to be an astronaut, right? So it's good even for everyone, regardless of your points of view. Even if you think the Earth's flat, I don't know why, but even if you do, I mean, to be honest with you, I don't know anymore because I've been fooled before. Like I've been deceived. People deceived me before. People lied to me. I've been fooled. So I'm open-minded to everyone. I've even open-minded to but what I'm saying is my point is, um, being an astronaut would be a great way to validate whatever you think, right? So, it couldn't hurt. It couldn't hurt for people to be part of this astronaut the reserve program. It'll encourage people to stay healthy, and encourage people to stay fit, exercise regularly, encourage people to keep up with their education and improve their education, and slowly over time take more science tests, learn about outer space. NASA could administer tests through the Astronaut Reserve app, and NASA suddenly could, like, for example, give astronomy tests, and so now people will keep up on the latest education about outer space and asteroids and comets and supernova, not supernova. Well, yeah, everything that can happen in space. The Astronaut Reserve app can keep everyone educated, which would be great. There could be a chat room. There could be all types of stuff. There could be games. There could be really fun events. There could be even a fun events too. Big sponsorship giveaways, like I said, with Best Western Hotel or Starbucks, or even NASA could give away swag. NASA could give away sweaters and T-shirts. It's great. So it would be a great incentive program, encourage people to stay healthy. It would be obviously the people would be volunteers, but the volunteers will be eligible for these prizes, these potential giveaways from these big sponsorship companies or big companies that would do sponsorship like Starbucks, etc. So these volunteers would be encouraged through an incentive program to stay fit, stay healthy, exercise regularly, keep up on astronaut education, and we have an astronaut reserve. And who knows, we might need in the future a real astronaut reserve. There might be a reason we suddenly want to move people, a colony of people onto another planet. And now we'll have an astronaut reserve, which is great. I'm definitely open-minded to what you're saying, but like it's still what I'm saying is still makes sense because even if you even if you have a different theory about the Earth, even if you have a different theory about space, then being an astronaut would be great because now you can actually investigate your theory, right? The best way to investigate your theory would be to be an astronaut. So whether you believe in aliens, whether you don't believe in aliens, whether you believe the Earth is flat, whether you don't believe the Earth is flat, whether you believe in whatever you're saying something about the atmosphere, whatever you believe, now if you do actually be part of this astronaut reserve program, you can get education and actually learn. And being an astronaut would be the great way to prove, disprove, and actually investigate whatever you believe. So. It's also great to put on your resume. Heck, it's even great to imagine to tell women and dates. Imagine you go on a date with a woman and you tell her you're an astronaut reservist, you're part of the astronaut reserve program. That just sounds cool. Like you're gonna score points with your date when you go on a date, you know? Imagine, or even on your resume, it's like your potential employer reads that you're an active member of this astronaut reserve app. You're an active member of this astronaut reserve program. That's cool to put on your resume. Like it's also cool, to put on your resume. It's great in general. It helps encourage people to stay fit, stay healthy, encourages people to keep up with their education. It's all around a win-win. Like it's a win-win for everybody, honestly. So I'm gonna have to wrap up the live stream soon because I have to start getting ready for work in about half an hour. But I'm gonna wrap up the live stream soon. But it was thank you to everyone who joined. Thank you to everyone who left your comments and opinions. Thank you. I appreciate everyone's constructive feedback. If you like the idea, if you don't like the idea, whatever your opinion, I appreciate everyone who gave their opinions. I appreciate everyone who joined the live stream. Thank you. And I always like to present new, interesting videos, interesting topics, and have good live stream discussions. So thank you to everyone who joined the live stream.